1.
All right, so now we're solving inequalities. So far, we've had equations where the left side is equal to the right side. Now, sometimes they're not going to be equal, and they're going to be equal or more than or equal than less than, and that's what we're looking at today. You need to write notes, okay, so get your stuff ready. Okay, so solving inequalities follows the same procedures as solving equations, so you answer them exactly the same way. There are a few special things you've got to consider, and this is what I need you to write down. We need to look carefully at the inequality sign, and we also need to graph the solution set. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to go over the inequality signs. Now, the first sign you know is greater than. Okay, you already know that from you've been doing that for years. The other one is less than. You've been doing it for years. Okay, then we get greater than or equal to. So it's still the greater than sign, but it's got a little line underneath it. So greater than or equal to, and then you can obviously think of the next one is the other way around, and that is less than or equal to. So these you need to know, okay? So make sure you've written them down. All right, next thing. How do you graph the solutions? So write these down. It may not make much sense to you, but I'll show you. Graph any number greater than. So remember, greater than is just that little sign there. Okay, so the way I'm trying to remember it is we've learned that years ago when our brains weren't very full and they were empty. So we have an empty circle and a line to the right. So the empty circle indicates that it was when our brains were empty because they're the simple signs, and to the right means the line gets bigger, which always means that in math. So greater than to the right, empty is the little line. Then we've got any number less than, same thing, goes the other way. Open circle, when our brains were empty, and less than, the line goes to the left. Like I said, just write this down, okay? It will make more sense. Graph any number greater than or equal to. So now we're getting more complex, okay? Greater means it has to chuck a right, but the brain is full, like it is now, so you color the line, you color the circle in, okay? And then when you've got less than or equal to, this brain is full, and then you chuck a left because it's less than or equal to. Okay. Even if you watch this again, it'll all make sense. Right, now how do we solve the inequality? So let's take an example. So here we've got x plus 4 is less than 7. Okay. So I said solve it the same way. So what would you normally do here? You would say subtract 4 from each side because you want to get rid of that 4 and you want to chuck it over on that side. So take 4, and you keep the same inequality sign, and there you go. You've got x is smaller than 3. Now, you're going to graph this. So, on your number line, you're going to start at 3. Are you going to have an open line, an open circle, or a closed circle? You're going to have an open circle because remember this was the simple sign from when you were years ago and you had nothing in your brain. And x is less than 3. So we're saying open circle, less than. So we're going to the left. Open circle to the left. We start at 3 and we go all the way that way. So we're saying x is less than 3. Okay, open circle indicates that it's the simple sign. Let's look at another example. Solve the inequality below and show the answer on the number line. So you've got 8x is less than or equal to 32. So what do? We want to get rid of our 8x, so we divide by 8, and we are left with x is less than or equal to 4. So think about it. Open dot or closed dot? It's going to be a closed one. It's going to be a full one. Okay. Greater than or less than, we're saying that x is less than. So the arrow should go to the left. Let's see. There we've got our number line, and there we go. Closed circle to the left. You can go 1 or 2 or even 3 across. So you start at the 4 and then you would go that way. At least 2, a minimum of 2. Okay. And obviously, guys, when you're doing your line, these are evenly spaced. It's got to be beautiful. Got to be beautiful. All right, next one. Solve the inequality below and show the answer on the number line. Okay, so we've got 5x plus 3 is greater than or equal to 10 take 2x. So what are we going to do first? Let's get rid of the 2x. So we add 2x to this side, and we add 2x to get rid of it on that side, and we've now got 7x. Let's get rid of our 3. So we go take 3. So now we've got 10 take 3, which is 7. And we've got 7x is greater than. We divide that by 7, divide that by 7. Come on, divide it by 7. And we're left with x is greater than or equal to 1. So, full circle for full brain. Greater than means it chucks a right. There you go. Okay. I think you're starting to get the gist of it. I hope you are. There's one special case. There's always something to toss everything upside down. Okay. Sometimes you have to reverse the direction of the inequality sign. So if you're going that way, you then have to make it go that way. Show you how. Only happens when you multiply or divide both sides of the inequality by a negative number. You know how sometimes you have to do that? So only if you multiply or divide by a negative number does it do a little switcheroo. I'll show you an example. So here you've got negative 3 plus 5 is greater than 23. Great. Subtract 5 from each side, so your 5 hops over on that side. There we go, there we go. So now we've got negative 3 is greater than 18. Now, you and me, we would just go negative 3 underneath of it, wouldn't we? Because that's what we have to do. Divide each side by negative 3 because we want to get y. That's the point where this swaps over and changes direction and will face the other way. So reverse the inequality sign. Can you see it over here? Let's change direction to negative 6. What kind of a graph would we do on this? Well, we know that y is less than, so we know that it's got to go to the left. And we know that it's just a normal with an empty brain sign, so it's going to be an open circle starting at negative 6 and going to the left. There you go. Does that make sense? I hope so it does. One more, another one that's going to be a bit different. What if they want a range of numbers? So look at this. Solve 3 is less than x and less than or equal to 7. So they're sticking it all together. So what you've got to do is you start on 3. What sign have we got? We've got our old sign, so it's an open circle. And then we've got, so we put our open circle there. Then we've got smaller than or equal to, x is smaller than or equal to 7. So we have to then, but this is our complicated one, so it's a closed circle. So we put our closed circle on the 7, and then we join our line. So graph the solution. The values between 3 and 7 are required as well as 7. So draw an open circle at 3 and a closed circle at 7. There you go. All right, let's go ahead and try some of this. Exciting stuff, eh?